Hi everybody, my name is Steven Aldacco. I've been living inside of this Honda Element for the past 3 years, and I had a lot of expectations when I first started van life. A lot of these expectations came true and a lot of them did not. So in today's video, I'm going to share with you some of those expectations I had versus the actual reality of living inside of a Honda Element. So if you've ever dreamed about doing van life, this video is for you to give you an idea of what it's really like. None of that social media baloney. I want to give you the real deal here. First off, my expectation for how long I was going to live inside of my Honda Element. I first decided to live in my Honda Element because I wanted to go to Argentina for a few months. And I, one, needed to save money, and two, needed to get out of a lease at my apartment. Van life seemed like the ideal solution for maybe 2 to 3 months. Save the money, go to Argentina, come back, and then get back to the normal grind of renting a place, going to work, all of those things. Well, during those 2 to 3 months, I actually enjoyed myself quite a bit. I stayed in all sorts of new places. I got into a routine. So yeah, when I came back, I was like, you know what? Let's keep doing this. Let's save some money. I liked this lifestyle. I was always out dancing and hiking, and I didn't really come home for much other than to sleep. So I continued on, and here I am 3 years later, and I'm still doing it, and I'm still enjoying it. So it is a little cramped. I've been thinking about getting a bigger van, and that's in the works very soon. So expectation number 2 was I was going to travel all over once I got back from Argentina. I was gonna hop in the Element, I was gonna go to all the national parks, and I was gonna live full-time on the road. And I did do a lot of that. I traveled to a bunch of national parks, but I found myself missing kind of like a home base. Not a home per se, but a place I can stay, maybe a city or a general area where I knew the people there, I had friends, community to hike and dance with, and also to work and teach yoga. Van life doesn't have to be traveling all over the place all the time. It's okay to stay in one place and save money by living in a van instead of renting an apartment like some of us do. Now this one is a big one. I was expecting to save so much money. I was paying like $750 to $1,000 for my apartment, and then utilities and everything like that. I was sharing a room. I didn't have my own apartment. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna take all of that money. I'm gonna save all of that money. However, van life does have quite a few expenses. Gas can add up a lot, especially if you have a bigger van, maybe only getting 12 to 15 miles per gallon. This Honda Element here does not get very good gas mileage. We get like 18, 20, 22 if I'm super lucky and super light on the throttle. So that cost added up quite a bit. And the second unexpected cost was food.
Fat and juicy's in.
Now, I'm a big foodie. I love food. I eat really good food, and I like to splurge on that. And I know that's not the best for my financial future. However, when I would go and buy groceries, a lot of it would spoil, and it would take a lot of time to set up to cook, and then some of my food would get wet in my cooler. And it's just a big headache and pain, so it ended up being just a lot easier to go out and eat cheaply than it would be to cook inside of the Honda Element for most of the time. So I ended up not saving as much money as I could have, but it's definitely saving a lot more money than renting out an apartment here in Southern California, where the rent prices are like astronomical right now. So the expectation was I would save a ton of money, and the reality is I saved a lot, but not a ton. The next expectation I had was that people would judge me. I was a little afraid of what people might think about me living inside of a Honda Element or a van. I thought it would really like hinder my chances with women and things like that. But it kind of ended up being the opposite. People were very curious about why I would live in a van. They were curious about how I lived in a van. They were wondering like how I did just normal day-to-day things. A lot of them would say that they dreamed to do it themselves, but they never kind of pulled the trigger on it. So it ended up being the opposite of what I think. In general, most people were just very curious about it, and very few people, if anybody, was judgmental towards me, and that includes people like my family. They were very supportive about me trying out this lifestyle. I feel like van life doesn't have the stigma that it used to in the past. Another expectation I had about van life is it would be kind of sketchy, like looking for a place to park and finding a place to sleep, and how comfortable I would be actually sleeping inside of the Honda Element. Well, it turns out that I sleep really well in the Honda Element. I didn't have roommates to make noise. When I would find a place to park, it'd be nice and quiet. The neighborhood I live in is very mellow. There's not a lot of people out on the streets after 9 p.m. So I sleep like a baby inside of the Honda Element. It's really been helpful for my sleep because when it's nighttime, like there's not much to do in here. So I go to bed and I wake up super early, like 6 a.m., 5:30 a.m. when the sun rises, and boom, I'm ready to go. I've been really in tune with like the circadian rhythm, like going to sleep early, waking up early, and it's been really good for my overall health, my mental health, and I get the best sleep when I'm in the van. Don't get me wrong, when I first started the van life, I was a little freaked out. It took maybe a week or two to get comfortable with the idea of sleeping outside, and then after that, it was no problem, and now I really enjoy sleeping inside of the Honda Element. Let me know some of the expectations that you have about van life down in the comments below, and maybe some of you who live van life can answer those questions to give your perspective. All right, everybody, well, hey, thanks so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed my perspective of the reality versus the expectations of van life.